Got it.
Okay.
Right up there.
Well, that's better.
Call over to the City of North Plains Parks and Recreation Board at 6 p.m. Please stand for the pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Corey, please take the roll call.
Chair Nunnenkamp,
Here.
Vice Chair King,
Here.
Member Burns,
Here.
Member Silverman,
Here.
Don Weber,
Here.
Member Michael Bernards. I didn't hear from him, and Joanna Orgill. I did not hear from her either.
Okay. And I understand Terry will not be here this evening.
Correct, she's on vacation out of state.
Thank you. So next thing we have is consent agenda. Did everyone have an opportunity to read the minutes from June 13th? I'm sorry, March 14th. And we did not have an April, we just had the tour, right? But also, I think we, for the consent agenda, I'd like to add on Evan's application. And then there's a document that Andy will share that I took notes on for a tour that we did last month. So if we could add that onto the consent agenda also, that'd be great. So anyways, I hear a motion to accept with those modifications.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, carries. Public comment, I don't see anyone on Zoom or in the audience. So let's move on to new business, and the first thing on new business is going to be Patty Burns, and you can drop off anytime you want to, Lori, okay? So
Thank you. I'll stop my video so you don't need to see me, but I might hang just for a while. I'm just sitting here, so.
thank you. Enjoy your evening. So first one is 7A is Patty Burns' application for reappointment. Does anyone have any questions for Patty? Why do you keep doing this to yourself?
Why do you think you deserve to be on this board?
Do you know how long I've been on? I don't have an idea. I don't remember. A long time.
Yeah,
Like 10 years?
No,
Not 10.
no, it was,
Must be getting close, because I joined practically right out of high school, and that's.
you look like you're in high school.
That's good.
Did you realize that?
Yeah.
We can look that up for you.
What was that?
We can look that up for you.
Okay.
At least has to be over 7 years, because you were on.
We have to make a motion.
huh?
We make a motion.
Actually, we just want to make a motion, I guess, to forward this on to the city council for approval. So, even just a consensus among us all is fine, so. All in favor, did you have any questions, Emily, for Patty?
No questions.
Okay. So all in favor?
Okay.
Aye, yeah. Okay, thank you. And then we have Evan here too, so.
I see that it cut off, even though I fixed it. It still cut it off.
And Emily doesn't have one, but the other application is Evan's here, so. Does anyone have any questions for Evan? Again, why?
I'd just like to note that when I put it out there, it cut off the words, even though I had written entire sentences. So it doesn't just end like that.
So a consensus for Evan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Emily?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. All right. So discussion about the tour that we took. Hi. Do you have that document you can bring up? That I sure do. So I just took some notes on what we kind of talked about, maybe we could do on each one of the parks. And the first one was Jesse Mays here. We talked about the kitchen is outdated and needed an update. Basically the whole thing. We talked about possibly expanding some of it if we could, but I think until we actually got into some type of the design of it, we just know that it needs help.
Yes.
And this is one of the things. So what is the name of the group that does the fundraising for parks and stuff? It's not the Friends of Parks, it's
It is the North Plains Parks Foundation.
Parks Foundation. And I was hoping that Michael might have been here this evening to kind of,
I have a meeting with them on Thursday,
oh, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of see what they're up to.
Okay,
What sort of projects they're looking at.
okay.
Would you like to recommend that the kitchen is one of the
I think that's gonna be the next
parks
thing on our
board?
list. Yeah. So then we talked about the east side of the park could use lighting upgrade over on this side over here. Any other comments that you guys had about Jesse Mays here that you can think of?
I mean, the only thing I'd say, if you're gonna evaluate the whole thing, what it takes, because they're doing the outside, which is wonderful, but you know, this whole room, you know, I noticed there's been a lot of leaks in the tiles, and
Well,
it would be a question of what it would take to make this a nice.
if we want to readdress that whole design that we did before, we went through that before, but that was a big picture of the whole park and major renovation.
Would that come back at 7 million?
I think it's pretty close to that.
But I
And that
mean,
was years
I think it would be worth, if you're gonna spend 10, 20, 30, 50 in the kitchen, I'd probably say, let's get the whole building figured out. What are the highest priorities and who uses it the most and where's the most bang for our buck, kind of, right?
Well,
Because
that's
this is
probably,
I know this is used a lot,
right,
Yeah,
right.
which is good.
it's the biggest and only, besides the senior center, but it's the community building.
That's all we have
Yeah.
in town. So,
Yeah.
Especially now that CDFNR doesn't, they don't have any
Oh.
meetings in there anymore.
Yeah.
right. So is that something that we look to some type of a designer to them to relook at the building all over again, or what do you think, Andy?
Probably, I would agree with Don, though. I'd want to prioritize what we want to do. We've got the outside going on. From the inside, what is it the Parks Board wants to accomplish? Do we want to prioritize upgrading the kitchen, or do you want to have a more improved sound system in here? What are the priorities?
Lighting, ventilation, air, all those questions.
Air conditioning.
Well, got air conditioning's in.
Yeah, it's new ventilation, new HVAC
There's
system.
new windows in here.
Are the windows new?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll just the shade.
Siding is new. The roof, I'm sure, is old.
Yeah, probably 10 years I bet at least.
Yeah. I remember when we redid that.
Yeah.
I looked at getting some solar panels on top of here when we were gonna get it, and the guy was like, first thing, well, you probably need new roof, to do that, to hold it.
I think they went over the top, didn't they? I think that's going
So
over it,
next time
at
it's-
least,
Okay.
at least 2 layers, if not.
And, lighting would be a big.
Lighting for sure. Yeah.
LED lighting in here and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Changing
And there's
lighting.
ways to adapt these drop downs, better tiles or different ones, or
We talked at one time about removing the dropped ceiling and exposing those beams for what they were originally.
Yeah.
Did anyone take them off? See
What's
how it
that?
looked? Did anyone take them off? See how it looks?
Yeah, it's still the original.
most people would say, because I've been around where we've done that, and that's generally the way you go, because you always want to make it higher.
How much higher is it? from
Yeah.
where it is
It's
now?
quite high, actually.
Well, because this was in the gym, right?
It is.
The gym.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be do that. If it was like just short-term projects. If it's like almost double the size of the building, or?
No, I don't think it's,
Make it look nice.
it would have an open concept.
And then the new lighting is.
Probably
not super
another
expensive.
third or something of what this is height wise already, probably another third.
Then I would almost say maybe build a little balcony area instead of having like stage here. Build a little balcony area for people to get
Stage
there.
up in there or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
And we
beauty
have
about
more room
lighting
out
too
here.
is, oh, sorry.
No.
go ahead. Go ahead.
The good thing about lighting too is you can, a lot of times you can get a grant for public building for lighting upgrades.
Yeah, and that's
Maybe
been
it's
my
just-
experience. Every year there's a different one being offered because they want to get you out of this and to the other.
Well, let's just put it on our list of things to tackle as a group then. Some of the upgrades we'd like to see in here. I know storage is a big issue and stuff in here too. So there's some things to talk about.
It makes me wonder whether we really need that stage.
I know.
Well,
And
what
if
I
we
just
could
suggested, we fix
have-
that.
What's that?
What I just suggested, we fix that. If we had the stage, like a balcony up here, then you can use that area for something else.
Or we could have a portable stage. And utilize that more into the kitchen.
Well, we'll add on to this design of the building.
I mean, the other thing would be interesting if somebody, I guess, would be one of the people at your place, but to just tabulate what were the number of uses in the last year. Just to get a
Well, the
ballpark
last
of-
year doesn't, we have to go back
Well,
3 years.
Pre-COVID, but what's the standard kind of group using it?
It's really changed because the group using it the most now by far is public meetings. City meetings didn't used to be in
Yeah,
here.
they were. at the
Right.
senior
And
center.
then some of the groups that were in here haven't come back since.
Okay.
So it's all in flux really. I bet some of that's the same at the senior center
Oh,
too.
yeah.
You're just kind of
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
for regularity to come back.
Yeah, and then does this become back the way it was? Do we go back to the senior center again, or do we don't ever go back to senior center? I don't know.
Well, I would say never, but
Yeah. I mean, one day we'll have another city hall. one
yeah,
day.
and that would have some
That would
community
have,
meeting space built into it. Yeah.
right,
So, yeah, I mean, one of the things now that is a state law is your public meetings, if you can, they have to be broadcast virtually too.
Mm,
If you can't, I don't think we've done any meetings yet in the last year and a half, 2 years where we haven't done it, but you know, if it's in a pinch, I'm not around, we're not around, we didn't do it. It's not the end of the world, just as long as the other members do it. But that is one of the state laws.
wow, okay. Okay.
So for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting back to this, I would say, and I'm gonna say this for all of them. These are good discussions, but I want to wait till we have a public works director to have them involved in this and
Get
pick some of this up.
deep into it.
Yeah, and I'm actually speaking of them, open to have interviews later this month, so hopefully sometime this summer, we have someone on board. And if someone has experience with facilities or a lot of parks experience, all the better, but it's good to start having these discussions.
Yeah,
Pick 'em up
Yeah, I just
as time
wanted
goes
to hit
on.
the highlights and make sure that I didn't leave something out or if something else came up.
Question, what is the cost to have an architect, like when we did this before? What is the cost of that?
I thought we had a grant to do that. You weren't here at that time, Andy. That's been a while now. I thought we had a $20,000 grant or $25,000 grant. And that's what covered all the costs.
Okay. Yeah, I hate to see money not wasted, but used and then nothing done.
Mhm.
To me, that is just,
Well, see, and that's what I mean by the priorities, because you guys put a lot of work into it before, like you said, it cost 25 grand or however much it was.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we were like, whoa, that's too much. So
well,
if we
maybe
have some
our ideas
incremental-
were too big.
if we have some incremental, ideas in mind, then we could get an architect involved or a design build, someone, if, expanding the kitchen were one of the priorities, start putting some resources into that. But yeah, we would definitely want to be sure of what we want to accomplish before we engage
Yeah.
an architect.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing money like that. Or using money like that.
You can do it much cheaper if you just have a construction person who's loyal to North Plains. They can tell you a lot of it just by walking around.
Yeah.
We could do this, but that'd be expensive.
All right, Frank Wing Park. That's the one down by the water tower that we got. We talked about possibly converting it into a small dog park.
And maybe it was, I think we discussed a little bit about maybe when you said they're supposed to be moving out of that area by the water tower.
They'll always have some equipment and stuff there, I assume.
Public Works? Yeah, yeah, just,
They won't utilize as much as they do now, but
no, but as the town grows, public space is always gonna be a premium. I don't foresee that footprint shrinking there. You know,
Okay.
there's,
we talked
we'll
about,
get a new truck or new piece of equipment, it'll stay there, you know, something like that.
you don't think we might be able to get a slice of it to make it a little bit larger?
I mean, I can
I don't know,
never,
just see if,
Never.
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
if you say no, probably not, it's just not gonna happen, that kind of sets our minds what we're gonna do.
Well, I'm not gonna say never, but so if it were a dog park, yeah, it would have to be a small dog park.
Yes, you couldn't put large dogs in that area.
Yeah, maybe you could get some more room out of it. I'll have to look.
I mean, I think the easiest thing is just surround it by a fence and let it
Yeah,
do
we only have
whatever
to
it
put
is.
one more in, then we have to put a lockout basically for them, then. So you double gate it,
Why do you double gate
so
it?
you don't let other dogs out when other people are coming in.
Um,
That's
I mean, I
all.
realize if you're going official, I probably personally wouldn't worry about it, but I would. The advantage of surrounding it by a fence is if I go over with my little kids, I know I got them
It has to
controlled.
be, it has to be within a fence, if you're gonna let them off leash. And you have to double gate it for the safety of the pedestrians and for the cars going down the street and for the animals itself. You always double gate, so. And then, that only takes like 4 foot, like a 4 by 8 foot
Yeah.
area. Double gate on.
I mean, I'm just not sure we use that much, which means first come, first serve. If somebody's over there with a bunch of
You could probably
kids.
get a half a dozen to 10 small dogs in there.
Right, but would
Well, like when we
people,
were there were a couple of dogs there already, but.
Yeah.
I mean, for the safety of the animals, I mean, it wouldn't be that much work, that much
To do it?
space, yeah, to do it.
It's not.
I mean,
Okay.
you're talking commercial where the speed's 25 miles an hour, and there's not many people that go 25 miles an hour down there, that go 40.
Now, with the double gating, if you're coming in, there's other dogs running around.
Yeah.
and the Gate goes open.
Yeah,
That stops it from. other
Yeah.
getting
yeah,
out.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, gating it is an
yeah.
easy way to go.
So the projects like this, you're thinking, Andy, that still, maybe by the summer, if we do have someone coming on, that we talk about more of those details at that time, with that person?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
We're
put
talking
this
2
off.
or 3 months, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Get someone
it's almost
activated.
summer.
Right, yeah.
Believe it or
Yep,
not.
by August, we'll be in the thick of it.
What else do we have? Pacific, I didn't really know, we haven't really seen the details from engineering or anything, and that's, you know, part of what Louis Wentz and stuff was also about possibly putting some play equipment there, because Pacific Park likely probably isn't going to support possibly anything. I don't know what the
Now, see, are we paying for that too right now? Are we paying to have somebody engineer that?
We're not doing any engineering or design. All we've done thus far is, we've surveyed it and you had to do a wetland delineation. And then we work with Clean Water Services about, you know, where are the limits of the floodplain and the wetland. Basically, we probably need to talk with them and a hydrologist, get some sort of hydrology report to get a really good, I mean, these are all engineering technical details, but you can just see it with your eyeballs that whatever we do there is just,
Well, but it was, what are we missing? Like, it was built years ago, and did it always flood? Because I think, Doug, you'd said it didn't used to flood and they like dug it up or something?
Well, they dug it out, to put the chips in there.
Yeah,
Now, basically just create a pocket where the water sits in there now, but you can see that the level isn't that far off. I mean, it doesn't take much for the area to flood at times.
I think
Yeah.
just behind the park, when we were there, it's extremely soggy. I still think the best maybe we could do is fill it in as best as we can and cap it. And, you know, I've been noticing these things as I go around, I'm sure you all do. the occasional carcass, the occasional park. You'll find a carcass in a park and you just fill it in. No,
We don't want to know.
but sometimes they're just green space, like a bench or a gazebo, and
Yeah.
that's good enough. And maybe that's what they'll have to be. And then maybe what we could do is have a little play structure at the Lee Wentz and that side of town has something for kids that are over there.
Try to support something on that site. There's really not anything else over there right
Mhm.
Well, I think we're fighting an endless battle. I think that, I know how it is at our place with water. And water's gonna come up wherever it wants to come up, and you're not gonna move it much.
Yeah.
And, especially this year, it's
Yeah.
wet.
There's a reason that land was available for a park.
Yeah.
It didn't have a house on it.
It's been there for, what, over 20 years, at least like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did it get donated to?
I don't know when that happened even, yeah.
I think it's, I almost want to say it's older than me, maybe. I'm a quarter of a century old.
So that would be the easiest, I agree, is you fill it in, because you go high enough that at least then that part isn't wet anymore. And then if there was enough money, the Louis Wentz put a little structure there, because you're not that much farther away for some of those people
Yeah.
to go with their kids. That little pocket of newer homes, they could take that back way over,
Mhm.
and it's just as close as the other one was.
Mhm.
And
If
maybe,
we had the money.
you're right, maybe a small gazebo with some picnic benches or something.
Yeah, or maybe just a picnic bench. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much a play structure would come in.
Would that be a good place for dog park?
Water dogs.
Hey, that's why I'm here, is because of Purple Park, because we live within a block of it. We haven't been able to use it in 3 years. So I was kind of wondering what you guys are gonna do with it.
We
A couple
talked
weeks
about
ago, it was
dog
almost
park at one
dry.
time, but it's still so wet that winter time.
Yeah, and
Have to shut it off.
I wouldn't want, yeah, I don't know, we might get more people yelling at us if we have a dog park, it's a mud park. And they get angry with us that we opened up a piece of property that's just, it would be pure mud, it wouldn't take much at all.
We'd have to have an outside shower to wash it off.
Yeah, but that's what we're thinking right now is we'll take the structure out, probably try to do that this summer. Because I don't want any kids getting, ideas, trying to use it when there could be this much water there. And then we'll look at it,
Again,
fill
we
it in.
used it when it was flooded, even though it's a built in there, we had a little remote control boat. That was fun.
So you're saying we should
Yeah.
dig it out even more and just have it fill in?
Or just make it a
No.
water feature.
Yeah. Have a little pond.
That's a liability.
I could see Don getting nervous over there.
Well, I suggest a kayak, so.
My wife and I drove by Louis Wentz Park last weekend. I think you or someone else had mentioned about the parking problem around the park.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, there was like 8 or 10 trucks and cars and just, I think they're from the right next door.
It's the guy across the street.
Yeah.
And what is that across the street?
I don't know if
He's
they
a
do
collector of vehicles.
auto storage or from,
Storage, salvage, all sorts of stuff.
But he's got maybe 50 vehicles or something.
So
I was gonna ask-
why can't something be done with that?
well, I was gonna ask Andy, can you put a sign up that says 2-hour parking or?
And this predates me. This has always been a problem with
that?
it. Yeah.
Well,
weeks.
not like it is now.
It's-
Not like it is now. This is just,
I don't know if you drove by it.
I go by there all the time. Yeah, once a week.
It depends on the time of day. I jog by there a lot. Sometimes it's worse than others. I mean, I think the starting point would be talk to the owner and say, please don't park here. Maybe you cut it back a little.
is that owner occupied? Or is it rented out just?
Oh, I don't know. The guy owns the property or not.
guy. I've seen him. in-
But there's nothing that really stops them from parking there either. That's why I didn't know if you could limit to like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or,
I guess, yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe it's. I know that people at the city have been talking to him for years. I used to go when Jesse was chief of police. We'd go and have to chat with him every
Really?
few months. And things to be cleaned up and then they would meet. So let me talk to the chief tomorrow. Parking are one of my top 5 subjects.
I didn't realize it was getting that bad, so I saw it last weekend.
It just is worried, yeah.
I wanted my wife to let me out so I could take pictures.
It has been
No,
pretty-
don't do that.
Yeah, it's been, no, it's not, they're not violent or anything,
But
but
there
yeah.
was people out there and stuff too. It's like, no, I don't want you to guys to do that.
One of those days of the weekend, I didn't quite understand, something was going on. I don't know if he was trying to sell stuff or something was going on. It was during the week. But the other thing I've been very aware of, it's not like a bunch of people are trying to find parking to use the park, to be honest. You know, there aren't a ton of people who use the park. I
But
saw
we
them.
put structure and stuff in there, it becomes a little more popular
Yeah,
than.
yeah.
But we can't have it surrounded by. work.
Exactly, otherwise nobody's gonna go there.
But I think you start with the guy and see what he says, because you can ultimately sign it, ticket it, but. The city's.
We'll see what Andy comes back with for us, okay? Sorry, Andy. but
Once a public works director comes on board, he.
Yeah.
That's,
Don't let him see.
that's why I just made note of it in this document and we'll be revisiting this again. Next week.
All right, I'm making a note right now.
Thank you. Let's see, the Morden Park, there was nothing on that park. The only thing we had was Sunset Ridge. Oh. Sunset Ridge, you thought you may want to talk to the HOA and stuff? Did you, get on
I
their
felt
list?
it out a little, the mess they created in Sunset Ridge is, they have a phase 1 and a phase 2. And they built both sections differently, so they each have their own dues. So the two sides don't talk much, but really, they need to get together on it, because this is their main park. And I think both sides might benefit if they said, we'll oversee it, right? Because it's an expense to the city.
Right.
Does the
yeah.
city want another park to take care of and pay for?
Well, it's hard.
I'm just trying to.
It's hard for them to maintain that.
I mean,
Budgets we have right now. That's why a lot of our new parks are all HOA parks. Won't be maintained by the city.
I'm trying to make an inroad, but I think what happened, I think when they built that development, it was built by 2 different builders or something. Taylor Morrison bought out the first group. But it's messed up because the two aren't merged. But I'll
Is
keep
there any
checking.
plan for them to merge at one time or not? I don't know.
I bring it up all the time, but they say they don't like each other.
Oh, the 2 HOAs.
Pardon?
The 2 HOAs you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
Pardon?
That is a little.
But they designed it differently, so the water bills are done differently. I don't understand all that, but they messed it up. with that.
So has the HOA been handed over to the people yet?
Oh, yeah, both have them.
Both of them have.
Phase 2 more recently. Phase 1, I'm in the original one, that's been a long time. So phase 1 only has the pocket park. Phase 2 has the circle park, which the city isn't planning on getting, and then this big park.
Right.
City should be getting that park pretty soon, shouldn't they?
2024?
August 2024 comes up every meeting.
2 years and a half. So
Well,
anyway,
what's interesting is the top quarter of Circle Park was in phase 1. If I
It
remember
was,
right.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Like the top of it was weird.
It's like the heart. of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top, maybe the top 5th or something even wasn't that cool.
Yeah.
Part of the gazebo.
Okay, so Sunset Ridge is what it is right now, but until we actually either regain control over it or if HOA ends up wanting to do something with it, we'll find out in a couple of years here what happened.
Don, do groups use the green space out there, the nice field with the baseball or anything?
yeah, but the whole problem is, we were just talking about that somebody today, it has a serious design issue, which is the area where the backstop is perpetually soggy and flooded, so it's almost not usable. Now, when we haven't even turned sprinklers on, it's, you can't walk through it without your feet sinking. Like even when Patty was over there, and we had the concert, nobody could sit over there, which is
Well,
a,
and the water had been turned on,
I was
though.
gonna say, they,
but
very
very,
on, or I thought it was off.
It had been on, it'd been turned off, I think, earlier in that day.
Oh,
And then, yeah, it was wet. It was.
but there's a
definitely-
design issue because the rest of it, 2/3 of the grass area you walk on, you play with your kids, it's fine. You go over by the backstop and you can't do it.
Well,
You're
it's
sinking.
because it's at a slope,
It's,
and that's where the water drains to. That's what I'm saying. Water is a big issue when,
well, but we've tried to initiate, it's really a builder issue, to be honest, because they designed it incorrectly,
right,
which should be fixed.
Well, we don't have to accept the park if it's having problems though, too. We can make them tile it or something.
Well, but I'm saying what we're still trying to do, we'll have to get an attorney if we're gonna try, it still goes back on Taylor Morrison, because they designed it incorrectly. But it's
No, I'm just
expensive.
saying, the city has a right of refusal on the park if there's things that are wrong with it.
Well, no, I'm not worried about, I'm more concerned about getting it fixed, to be honest.
Getting it
whoever
corrected.
has it. Whether we
Yeah.
do it HOA, we should get it fixed, because it's not fully usable. It's basically never usable. Because once the sprinklers come on, it's soggy, until they come on, it's soggy.
Yeah.
And, but I'll keep nudging on that. Unfortunately, developer stuff is complicated, because it wouldn't be cheap to fix, you'd have to dig it up.
and that doesn't mean that it would be fixed either. I mean, we've done that at our place where we had wet and a wet area, and you put drain tile in, and ours is a lot because of gophers and that, and I don't think that's the issue, but springs coming up, it just, it happens.
I mean, unfortunately, the worst possible place for it is where the backstop is, so if you want to play baseball there, it's not usable for baseball.
Well, maybe they need to turn the water off and let it dry out more, maybe not as much water there. Redo the timing.
They're gonna try this summer, so we'll see, but then you run the risk of the way it's zoned, I guess, they're concerned they'll have dead grass and then. But anyway,
Well,
we've got
You
time.
can
to
work with
figure it
dead
out.
grass, but you can't when it's soggy and you're sticking up to your ankle.
Yeah,
so do they show up to your HOA meetings? and you-
Pardon?
Do they show up to the HOA meetings? Folks are asking them these questions?
Neither of the HOA has much of a turnout, maybe 10
Oh, yeah.
on average.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anybody what's happening now with COVID getting passed, all of a sudden they're out there starting to use it more.
Yeah.
Groups are trying to play baseball, and they go, wait a minute now. So probably what's gonna happen, which is okay, they'll see if they can turn the water off most of the summer and see if it gets usable. So that's probably the short-term cheap try as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would advise that too, if it's not zoned correctly, rezone the box. so
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
Control it better.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll report back.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a question?
Just for one thing on the grass, I don't know if it helped. I know I've seen it happen before. It's where they poke a bunch of, like, take out pieces of the grass.
The perfect, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would help.
Hmm.
Or is it just too soggy for that?
it's probably just too
It's really
soggy.
solid, yeah. We even, when we had that last concert last year, I think it was, last year, year before, I don't know what it was. But we had to shut it off like 2 days. before.
Yeah, you have to shut it
Yeah,
off.
and it was wet.
But they're still wet.
I remember Terry coming to the concert and she sat down and she was.
Oh,
like, yeah.
It's terrible,
Okay,
especially if it's bad.
so the Turtle Park was, we talked about adding a picnic table underneath the covered area, so.
Like a full-size picnic table?
What's that?
A full-size picnic table?
Yeah.
I was over there recently. I saw like 7 of them on the box out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Took a picture.
I was one who said I'd never seen a turtle. My daughter and I jogged by the other day, and there was 5, including 3 baby turtles, so.
Ah.
Yeah, they were there last week and I took a picture too. I was like, listen.
I know, I have one too on my phone, so I stand impressed by the turtles.
Did we ever get any more interest from the Portland Zoo, which is the turtle park, and the breeding? Blake had talked about it years ago.
I think they did the interpretive science stuff out there.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know if they were involved with that.
Yeah, I think it was that. I'm not 100% sure though, what else
Okay.
promises were in here.
Can I make one overall comment?
Yeah.
Is, since we're hiring a new public works, one of the issues that kind of gets to me after paying attention, especially to the main playground out here, is there doesn't seem to be an agreement of what the standard for the park is. I mean, do you think, Andy, like, I was an overseer for a similar playground to this, and it's actually governed by guidelines and books, and they talk over and over about an issue, they call it your fall zone. Then they talk about the depth of the bar, they talked about how far the slide should be from the bar, and I read the reports and it says, Public Works says the people inspect this every week. But this park is significantly deficient. The slides are way too high off the bark. The bark is not as thick as it's supposed to be. There's hard pack under the swings. And that is simply,
I think once we get another, public works director in here too, and let that person focus on stuff like that. I don't know where Blake was on some of that stuff as far as controlling stuff like that, maintenance wise and stuff, but I mean, we can always make sure we make it a priority with the new person that comes in. Safety.
Noted, Don, thanks. We talked about this last month. Yeah, I hear
well, no,
you.
I mean, to be honest, what concerned me is I brought it up a year ago and nothing ever happened. I mean, it is, kids get seriously hurt all the time. And the way this playground is, if I were giving advice, I'd say if we're not able to get it done now, that's fine, but surrounded by caution tape because it's dangerous the way it is. Now, I guess I don't understand why we wouldn't make it safe. I mean, I don't want to be a thorn in people's side, but it is currently dangerous. Yeah. You know, like I said, it's not my issue. It's what the governing groups, they say. Fall zone, 2 feet of bark, how high a slide should be, how high the swing should be.
And Andy knows, we'll
I
address.
guess
it.
the point now is, if it can wait 2 months,
Mhm.
we might try to get by. If it can't, I can try to get some bark chips delivered this week.
I guess I don't understand why we're discussing it, because my understanding is if we don't want to put bark in, then shut it down. With parks, it's not a negotiation whether you leave them dangerous or safe, you just do it. It's not, now, if bark is it super expensive? I guess I understand that, but
No, it's more manpower, I think, right now even, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have 2 public works crew right now, no public works director. So yeah, it's a bit of a manpower issue. I can probably get them. But I guess that's the point. If it can wait 2 months. But if you feel strongly that we need to get some chips in and fill it all up, I can look into that.
It is pretty bad.
All right, let me send out some.
the problem is, as soon as we talk about it, we've created a nightmare. Because if we say we know it's dangerous, we just don't want to do it, we're
It's
in
not that we
deep trouble.
don't want to do it, it's just.
Don't we have like a dump truck, the city? So we have the ability to just go pick up the chips.
We can have chips delivered too, though. It's not that much to have a load delivered out there and dump.
All right, let me make some emails, okay?
Comment?
This new tree removal place up here on Glencoe.
Watts.
Yeah, what do they do with their?
My neighbor's house.
Usually they have customers that they.
Don't bring it to my house. I want it.
So you don't want anyone.
Well, we don't want those types of chips.
Oh.
You'll get a lot of. Rather than just like cedar chips like this is up here, I think it's probably better. They don't, but there's one place that does do it.
It's a hassle.
Yeah.
It's a hassle to move those small types of chips. I've had to do it. There's a lot of different random trees.
Okay, any other comments? Welcome, Joanne.
Sorry, my son has gymnastics till like 6 and getting everything else gross, so.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, it's been a while.
Do you have any comments about the list here or anything that?
So is this,
We-
are these notes that you guys did and you walked around?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
With the turtle park, is there, I don't know if there's enough space to have a picnic table under that covered area.
There is, yeah, just one. I mean, you wouldn't want any more than that, but at least people can go there and have lunch or whatever too.
They might go to one of the restaurants and take their food.
Yeah. We can,
I was thinking if you didn't do full-blown bench, picnic table, maybe you do seats around the outside
Outside.
or on one or two sides of it.
Like a.
Yeah, I think
Like a
a big
bench, yeah.
picnic
Yeah.
table is gonna take up too much room.
Yeah, I feel like
I think
then there's
maybe
not
a
enough
bench,
viewing
like a
space
bench on
going in
the two
together.
ends there and like a smaller table there in front of them.
we've got that stuff around, don't we? That we could put a couple benches or something in there too then, or?
Yeah, we could move a bench down there and just see
try
what
that.
it looks like.
Yeah, some seating. just
Or a picnic
simple
table or a
idea.
bench, but I almost thought like a built-in.
A built-in, just like a
Oh,
bench
built-in
on there.
bench, yeah.
Right.
Those are kind of nice, you see the viewing platforms. Yeah, maybe we could take a picnic table measurement though and see what that would even look like.
What would like
there.
That's a good idea. Okay, could you have one of the workers do that in their spare time?
We're hiring 3 positions right now in public works.
Did we lose somebody? Did we lose one of the workers?
Yeah, we're down. We went from 3 crew to 2. Yeah, and we're trying to hire a summer
I think so, you
help
always
too.
hire a summer one too, though.
Yeah, so we're advertising for 3 positions in public works. right now.
And did you guys discuss Purple Park, since that's not?
In Pacific Park?
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's, King School toward top a little bit more there, so.
I still call it Purple Park.
In parentheses. So until we get the new public works director in here, we kind of decide what we can or can't do with that part. There's more than likely, I doubt if there's gonna be equipment that goes back in there again, but we may be able to put like a gazebo in there for picnicking. But we also talked about the Louis Wentz Park, that's behind the post office.
Oh, just south of the post office?
Yeah.
Yes, about putting a small play structure in there. Kind of help support that side of town.
Is that our choice, or are we, with Purple Park, are we being prevented from putting back equipment?
I don't think they're gonna let us, but it's just.
Have you been there?
Pacific Park,
Oh, yeah, we run by it all the time, it's still flooded.
yeah.
You got closer to not for twice. I could see a couple spots of land.
That's
in the
too
middle.
bad. Because it's just such a beautiful little spot with trees. I feel like converting Louis Wentz Park to a play park. I don't know. It's
Well, so
more cars,
Pacific
more
Park wouldn't,
industrial.
yeah, Pacific Park wouldn't be condemned, but it's gonna be a hydrological feat to get it to be solid, given the
I
water
suggest,
table there.
I suggest we make it unsolid and just make it a swimming hole. It's already
A
halfway
fishing
there.
hole.
What you're saying, if you, we were talking about, Andy was saying, if we
Just
fill in the playground, it'll rise it up enough that most of the land would be dry, in which case families could go over there and create their own games. They could play games, there just wouldn't be a play structure, so it's
Basically
usable.
be a green space.
Yeah, a nice green space, but
Is it Clean Water Services that won't let us put anything on top of it? Like, why can't we put in a structure
You
higher up?
have to mediate, and that's what the biggest problem anyways, it's such a small space.
Yeah, because it's a floodplain, so when
Yeah.
you fill, means you have to cut from somewhere else. I mean, cost is gonna be one of the factors. Just doing work around
And I don't think
floodplains is
anybody can
not,
guarantee that that water won't still continue to rise up.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It didn't used to be this
No,
bad. Like, what
that's
happened?
Water moves where it wants to go.
More water.
Yeah.
more water.
Um,
I don't know.
I see that. I don't know if making Louis Wentz a play park. Sure, I guess, but
It was the last ditch to get something over there for play structure.
yeah, it's
So-
just not, it's industrial, it's around. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess it's something. It's not really
Well-
safe. There's streets like right up against it. You have to do it. Yeah, it's too bad.
Planning commissioner, remind me, how big does a subdivision have to be to trigger some sort of?
I thought it was close to 2 acres now, isn't it?
Is it, okay, almost like a PUD?
But yeah,
Okay,
they're gonna develop back there, do you think?
well, wait, hold on on cottage, but
We live
I think
on
that's just gonna be 6 or 8 roads or something, so there
That
won't
would
be,
be nuts.
that wouldn't require any, unless you wanted to do it out of,
But,
feel good, but, yeah.
yeah. We'll wait and see what engineering comes back with the new public works director and stuff too, how they can backfill or what we can do with it. It's, I mean, we've been fighting this battle for the last, what, 2 or 3 years at least now, and flooding that thing out. It's. I even talked last time about, can we just replace the equipment, and make it solid? You know, but I don't think that's gonna be a possibility. We're not totally tossing it out the window. We still don't know where we stand.
Yeah.
And then we talked about up the top, we talked about Jesse Mays here about doing possibly some redesigning of the building and stuff in the kitchen area.
Like how we did before, like how we went through
Yeah,
that
but-
process.
but-
Because
Less.
everything's 5 times more now.
It'll still probably cost $7
Yeah,
million.
$7
We
million.
panicked when it was 2 times more, now it's 5 times
Yeah.
more.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that was the whole park we were looking at too, that $7 million for wherever that price tag was. We're doing this side of the park this fall. We'll start after Garlic Festival, I think.
We have the contractor.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, the
Are we
week after
going
Garlic
in
Festival.
phases where they're just doing the sport area first and leaving the park open, or are they shutting the whole thing down?
It's all gonna be shut down, but it's gonna be open through the summer. It'll, well, through the summer until after the Garlic Festival, but we're gonna start then because we're gonna try to beat the weather for certain things. It'll involve everything.
Big.
It'll be,
That whole side is gonna be ripped.
And when is
Yeah.
when is the expected completion?
Spring, isn't it?
I don't know exactly. It should, I mean, it should take 3 or 4 months. I would hope by the end of the year it's done.
That means a year.
But you'll still use the building, right?
Well, we should-
Yeah, we'll need to leave an access point for the building. Parking might just be a bit of it, because part of it's gonna be,
Parking
we
area.
gotta put a water filtration
Sweat
system
or
in the
whatever.
parking lot. And that's gonna get overlaid too.
I mean, almost everything you read about now is super slow because they can't get the materials and this thing and that thing.
Yeah, we ordered the playground equipment separately, so we could do that a month before we even open the bid for the contract. Even then, it takes 20 weeks.
Wow.
So there is one thing I did forget to put down here on the Veterans Park, and I know you had a full schedules up here too, but you were gonna look into, remember the parking area, how it's starting to just fall apart on us?
Mhm.
You were gonna talk to the person who's done that, or what we can do to I don't know what we can do.
I don't have an update for you.
No, I just don't want to.
After that, I do remember talking with Blake right after that,
Yeah.
only the next day. But yeah, all right. let me make a note.
Like, is the concrete from that?
Yeah, that is it permeable where it's so,
Yeah.
It becomes very permeable.
so yeah, the pebbles just started breaking apart now. There's a couple areas that look pretty bad.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody like scraped something on it.
That's the downside.
Oh,
What's that?
It doesn't get a lot of use.
Veterans Park?
It
No,
just, it's
compared to
not,
like a safe or a grocery store.
yeah,
I mean,
it should
it
be
should
holding up
not.
better than what it is.
I think
Yeah.
it's the technology.
Yeah.
You don't see pervious. I've only seen a few other ones around. One's in Cornelius. I should
Because
get
of
in touch
that
with them.
concrete.
It's called a pervious concrete.
Yeah, see, that's, we put in asphalt and it held up very well, but that is a new thing that
Where is we? Or who is-
where I used to work,
Oh.
and it held up very well for 5 years before I left, but this is a different deal.
Wouldn't have been our first choice.
Yeah.
It was either that or you take
Right,
up,
right.
you know, a quarter of
Clean
the
water
space
services
So
with
is
doing a swale.
Yeah, and that's the same reason we did it, but that hopefully they fix it.
Okay, let's move on from this for the time being, but we have this list and we will start readdressing it again in a month or two then, so.
Were there any? No, that's good enough. Tell you what, is there something you'd prioritize that we definitely want this summer, other than wood chips? On this list that,
Is there some low hanging fruit that
Right,
we could
yeah.
take care of? I mean,
I think, like you said, we gotta do something on the Pacific Park.
Either just rip out that play equipment.
but that's
You
not
should just
low
take it
hanging
out.
fruit.
That's what you do.
That's a major,
Pardon?
but that's a major thing is doing the, Pacific.
I feel like I feel like we should just remove the play equipment now, because it's an eyesore and it makes people dissatisfied more than not seeing it. I feel like we should just take it out. It's not gonna ever be used again.
Well, plus, it's a liability.
It is.
It's a liability to
Because
have
there's like
standing
a
water
small,
like that.
there's a small sign, but
I know, you don't like water.
I say liability, always give me a hard time.
Oh,
It is a liability.
It is.
Now, I don't
That's why
know,
you just dig it.
are
on
you,
the
do you have
big water
rules? Do you
hole.
have to pull out the concrete? Can you just saw cut them off, do you know, or? Because
I apologize, I don't know the answer. to
if you
those
could
rules.
just cut them off and cover them with more gravel. That would not be.
I know
so
when
hard.
I pass by it, like.
Was that one also put
Pick the play
put together by
equipment
just the
there,
people
and
of
be
the city,
oh,
like
grass is
Jesse
fixed.
Basil's?
Because then what you, if you.
I hate to take it up and people go, oh, well, that part's gone now. We won't think about that anymore. We're gonna move on to something else now. That's what,
Yeah, but if what we're saying is we're not replacing the play equipment. It's already been said.
so
I don't know.
what type of low hanging fruit are you talking? Are you talking like the benches and stuff at the Turtle Park, or possibly enclosing the small dog park? Or is that too big of a project for this?
Let me, I don't know why I said that. We have two people. Just think more about that.
Yeah.
I was trying to make you guys optimistic.
I do have one thing on Lamorden with the splash pad. I was just curious with the maintenance on that, how often does that get tested for proper chlorine levels? I'm assuming the water is treated and chlorinated.
It comes right out of the Cape Creek.
Oh, I was like, glad they're drinking it. Is that like?
Yeah, that's coordinated.
Like, how often are city people going out and testing it?
Well, it's tested amongst the entire system.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
just the culinary water? And is it, it's probably recyclable. though.
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what that system does over there.
No,
Yeah.
Should we
I could
know
find out.
who Public Works is over that?
Yes,
Public Works.
yeah. This is where I'm not qualified to be your parks staff person.
I just asked because there's some high profile cases of the children getting sick from splash pads from it not being treated.
Just talking about liability and.
So I guess we've never discussed it because it's city
Yeah.
maintained, but just making sure that as we open that, because is it open already since it's past
No.
May? Or is
I
it,
doubt it. It's just been too cold and
it's
wet.
so cold?
Oh, no,
They want
no.
to spot,
Once
I
it
just
gets
go
to
out when it's
be
raining.
70 degrees, people are calling. They want to know, it's on.
So we just need to make sure that it's getting tested regularly, like every other day.
Is that water recirculated through or?
We don't
I- we don't know.
All right, folks, time out. I do not know every issue on all the parks. A lot of these things predate me, and unfortunately, I've probably relied too much on the previous public works director on a lot of these things before. I don't know how it's tested.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of liability questions you guys have that I don't know the answers to. However, let me see what I can find out on our guy that does the work on it for that particular issue. But it is on, they were testing it last week. Yeah, on its functionality.
I don't, we had one and you could smell the chlorine. This one, I didn't smell anything when I took the
That's because,
grandkids.
that's because we're not Hillsborough.
But a lot of them, I think it's just fresh water. every time, because it's not used as much, which that is okay.
We'll find out about it.
Yeah, if you find out,
So that nice, that
That's
low hanging
safe.
fruit thing,
as long as you're not.
maybe a
setting
bench or
it
something
back.
like that to report.
Yeah.
If someone's
Yeah,
standing
we
around at one
circulated
time,
it.
Okay.
yep, maybe we could.
Your
try
bench
to-
down there. Should, maybe two, one on each side. or something. Okay.
I think it'd be nice. Okay,
Yeah.
we're moving on from this list for the time being.
Over this one. And then.
Next.
Next thing on our list is concerts in the park. Andy,
Oh, well, I don't, so we have the 4th of July event. It's going to happen.
What is that? I just saw that we are doing fireworks.
I have no idea anything about fireworks. I am not doing fireworks.
What's the event?
It will be here at Jesse Mays. We're going to have a parade. It will start at 2 p.m. here, go down, we're gonna go down Hillcrest to 313th, turn right, go down to Lennox, down to, and this will all be, we're just getting all the paperwork done. Go down to Main, left on Main to Commercial, and then back here. Or I guess we're Commercial, 314th, Claxter, and then back here we end up. Then the Knights will do their hot dog and water pop giveaway. And then at about 2:45, we will have Macy Guard Band. They will play until about a little before 6, I believe. And we'll have Kona Ice here. We'll have the popcorn guy and yeah, and then there'll probably be something else. My one vendor that was supposed to be here took another job someplace else. So we'll have probably, not 100% sure, but maybe another food vendor of some type. And that'll be it. I have no idea. So it'll be over by like 6 o'clock so that people can go do fireworks someplace else and that.
no car shows or anything this year,
No.
or nothing like that?
No.
No, that's fine.
No. And so, like we've done before with Macy Guard or what's that? We use the money that for ice cream social. I think we paid them out of
Mhm.
our fund. Do you have any idea how much we have in that fund?
For a concert,
Yeah,
I thought it was a couple thousand each year.
I don't know if
It's
it's on my
been-
head.
Yeah,
anything we don't use rolls over to
It
the
rolls
next year.
over, right.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
yes, it does.
I've got another band that is interested in playing. I haven't talked to them recently. And then I sent you information from the library
Yes.
and they need to know about that event quickly because it's like on the 16th or something.
Of this, of June. Oh, for,
Wow, that is a lot.
$550. That's it. So it's the, let's see what it's called, cello bop. Did anybody see that? at the
Cello?
library? Cello?
A library event.
Yes, they had it in 2020.
yeah,
And-
chill.
Cello?
Mhm.
Um.
Hey, could you have?
Oh, July 14th.
Lori send me what the dollar amount is for the parks, the concerts in the parks?
Couple grand. $2,000.
Okay. Do we know, do we have any left over from last year? Patty?
We should have,
We should.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to do a trial balance on that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We know we got a couple grand in there.
Sunset Ridge one was great.
Anyway, so the library is wanting to know if we could partner with them. And it was, say $500,
$550.
$550.
Yep.
So, and that's July
Partner with them for a
for
concert.
this,
concert.
for this concert
And where would they have that at?
here,
What day?
July 14th.
So on Thursday and in the evening.
Yes, it doesn't have
And
a,
they've already got a group they want.
yes,
Yeah.
it's just,
Right. It's just supporting it financially, I think is what they're.
Yeah.
What's the group?
The cello bot, right?
cello pop,
Bot.
Cello Bach.
pop.
I assume they use a cello somewhere.
Yes.
Their music.
A concert in the
Cello pop,
park is
B-O-P.
fine, provided
Pop.
there is easy access to. So 550 is the fee for that.
What do you guys think of it? I mean, they've used them in the past too, they've been happy with it, I understand, so,
The library was, yeah,
yeah.
They're helping promote it.
yeah, yeah. they were-
Yeah, I'm okay with that being one of our concerts.
Okay,
And then,
This is a good venue now because you have the restrooms.
yeah,
yep. Okay,
so,
you want to reply to it?
yes.
Okay, that's fine. And then, do we have any other prospects then for?
Yes, for later in the year.
Right.
I will talk to them and get a firm date, bring
You
that
mean
back.
in like August later in the year?
I think we can do that again, probably out of Sunset Bridge again. I think that will get with them and.
So we have one, so we'll do the cello one with the library in July, and then what are they?
So then the other one is the 4th of July
Oh,
event.
4th of July.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And then if we can get one more in, that's probably about as good as we're gonna get.
yeah, that's,
Is that Mitch's band again, or is that
4th of July is Mitch's band.
Mitch's band? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's July 4th, July 14th, and then
We've got Garlic Festival. We've
what are the dates
Yep.
of that? again? It's
got, of what?
Garlic Festival.
August 12th, 13th, and 14th.
We could maybe end of July, are you thinking, or like end of August?
Like August. I've got, yeah, the only time I have available is the end of August. I have weddings then.
I think that's fine if we can make something.
Yeah.
there. So it's nice to be able to do it before the kids go back to school.
Yeah. We'll back to that.
All right,
Yeah, just don't do it here.
no, we'll do it at Sunset.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, yeah. Okay. All right. Is there anything else on concerts then?
Do we want to try to organize food trucks for the library one? Or-
I will ask her. I have no idea. I don't even know how long. it
Maybe
lasts.
they, yeah, I don't know what they have planned already, but.
For some food trucks,
Mhm.
we can get some.
I don't know how long. it
Who's the guy
lasts.
that's opening in the spot? He has a truck, right? And he's expanding.
Yeah, he does. it
So if
at,
he still have a truck, he would be perfect to invite because he'd be promoting his
Sure.
Yeah,
restaurant.
What is that restaurant?
Loteria, not Loteria.
Where's
A
that?
Mexican place?
Yes.
That's a good place.
What would be Mexican?
So they have nothing to do with it. So. He does, they have a spot at the Orinco Market. I know that
Hmm.
on Sundays. The food looks good.
And where's that gonna be located at? then?
It's a spot. It's a spot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh. And the time.
All right.
My husband's family, like,
Okay, nothing else on concerts?
And let me know if you want to do any like post recorded, but it's fine.
Okay.
Do you need volunteers for like the 4th of July stuff and Parks Board or anything?
Anybody who would like to volunteer? That'd be
Just get a
great.
hold of you then.
Yes.
Okay.
If you need some help, I'll probably be close by.
He's really close by.
Probably not my door. I'll just yell.
And
I don't have to knock.
See, but I wouldn't yell because my mom used to yell and I've gotten pretty good at just zoning that out.
As all kids do.
Yeah.
I don't have to say food, that's a good one.
No, just Peel Excavating has the bid to do the project. They'll start mid-August. Yeah, hoping to have some public works director interviews later this month. Hiring for 2 crew, so pretty slim. So just be patient. If you see something that
who
needs
left?
mowed, Avery.
Oh, Avery did.
Yeah, we're doing our best to get around mowing. We had a mower that broke and all this record-breaking rain has made it a little tough, but anyway, we're hitting all the
Tell me
spots.
Tell me about it.
Okay, thank you. Parks Board. Joanna, nice to see you again.
Thanks. I was wondering where discussions landed with the walkway behind. I can't remember the spelling.
I know what you're talking
Bartlett
about.
Loop.
Yeah, Bartlett.
Yes.
Loop.
I haven't touched it,
Okay,
and just other things happening.
so that's
Yeah.
just,
He's waiting for that new public works back.
yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't had the opportunity to move forward. Whatever we end up doing. So. Anything else? Mr. Safety.
This would be for the future, I guess, Public Works, but I go every day on the new trail, which is wonderful, but it's being encroached quite a bit now with weeds and the other invasive thing around here, which I'm amazed how prolific it is the blackberry bushes. And those are pretty nasty on the grandkids when you're on your bike.
You're not running fast.
Well, you can go down the middle, but when two people come, I realize though it's gonna take, and they might not have it now, it takes different machinery to drive down and then have a thing that sticks out that cuts, because it's growing out of a borrow pit, it's not, or whatever, that's what we used to call it, but. So it's a bit of a pain to, you need some kind of machinery to do it, but it will have to be,
Is that a county road?
It's county.
it's our trail, but it's the
Yeah.
county road.
It's county.
But the county,
I don't know if county now.
So for the weeds, our guys know it. We just talked about it last week to try to get under there. It's on the list of things to do. And then the county I reached out to last week to get, they're going through the same thing. The county roads, West Union, Gordon, Shady Brook, Glencoe, to get out and kind of, cyclists and things like that. That includes around the trail, around the guardrail, in the ditch lines. So I'm hoping they can do that this week. Usually when I ask them to do it, they'll do it within the next 2 weeks. They'll get
so
on
they
it.
were just up our way.
Were they? Yeah,
Yes.
I noticed
They-
them on Jackson School cutting
Yes,
today.
they were cutting and then they went up Dorland just before you get to our place and sprayed the blackberries.
Yeah, I think they'll be out doing that. I'm hoping within a week. On the south part of that trail, that's private property and we had to go through quite a few issues. But they usually harvest all of that by 4th of July, so I'm hoping that's.
Yeah, so I talked to them, they're gonna
Yeah.
harvest it then. The only problem there is where those two crosses are, where the motorcyclists died. That area, there's no plantings and that's developing blackberry bushes too, so maybe that would be an area we could do. The rest,
Yeah, we could do
the
that.
rest of it is fine because it's soft, gentle grass.
That's always, is it always, I guess it's probably just always been bushes because there wasn't a trail there before.
Well, there's a tall power pole there.
Yeah.
Telephone
Kind of
pole.
goes in.
Yeah, but those crosses aren't new, but yeah. it's-
The other part
they're
that's
just
gonna be more of
overgrown,
a
yeah.
pain is the weeds are starting to grow through the slats.
I know,
I saw
yeah,
that.
we talked about that last week, so.
And that's a little more complicated because you gotta get under it and.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And the other one that's harder is the trees that are causing the moss, that's gonna be a pain. I don't know,
Just
you
take some moss
cut them
off.
down.
Yeah, we actually cut a lot of those last summer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's real fast in Oregon.
I mean, I realize it's me. My only other question, and maybe it's ever happened, but the urban growth boundary obviously is a big deal. Part of that is to get a big park. I don't know if this group has ever weighed in on our recommendations of where we'd like future parks to be.
We have,
We don't have to talk about that now, but that might be helpful to throw in something of, here's our favorite park areas. And give that input.
okay,
I think I've talked about everything.
No, I don't think I have anything else to add.
is Emily still online? That, she there? You should,
I don't think so.
oh, okay, okay. Okay, our next meeting is July the 11th at 6 p.m. We adjourned at 7:12. Well done.